Welcome to In the Cool of the Day. I'm your host, Tia Young, and we are honored to have two very special guests on the set today. They are a husband-wife team who work together, even when doing separate projects. The wife was born and educated in Washington, D.C. She holds a BA in Christian Studies and a minor in psychology. She is the president and founder of the Root of Jesse ministry. She has raised two biological children, Denina, Rene, and Joshua Emmanuel, and has also assisted in the rearing of 28 foster children. Our special guest has been a counselor within the prison system for more than 20 years and has resided as chaplain over the Northeast region, New Jersey Buffalo Soldier chapter. She has a passion for people of God. Her primary focus and perseverance is to work while it is still day. Her husband was born in Ohio and raised in New York. He comes to us by way of St. Cloud, Minnesota, where for the last 20 years he has been pouring his life into the community in the areas of recovery, mentoring, civil rights, education, feeding the hungry, and so much more. He faithfully serves and leads others as a deacon at Higher Ground Church of God in Christ under Pastor James Albert II. Our guest is a graduate of St. Cloud State University with degrees in community psychology and elective studies. He will soon be completing his master's in social responsibility in May 2016. He currently serves in many statewide organizations such as the NAACP, Second Chance Coalition, Isaiah Grip, and the Minnesota DFL African American Caucus. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Apostle Rene Hood Stanton and Deacon Dexter Stanton to our show. Hello and welcome.
Thank you, Tia.
Thank you so much for taking that long ride from Maryland to Virginia.
It was worth it.
Yes. Well, we're going to get started. I know that your ministry is called Root of Jesse. What is Root of Jesse, and how did you come about that name?
Actually, it wasn't myself. It was actually the Lord. As a young girl, you know how you're in school and you get bored and you just start doodling. And for years, when I got bored in school, I would just start drawing roots out of the ground. And when I was in Texas in the early 90s, I had a praise shop where we sold gifts and music, you know. And so I was sitting there, the place was quiet, and I started doodling. And the Lord just spoke to me. He said, you know that drawing that you've been doing ever since you can remember? I said, yes. And he said, that's your ministry, Root of Jesse. And I immediately grabbed a Bible and I opened and I started reading how it began to depict Jesus and his character, and how it said that the root of Jesse was stand as an ensign for the Gentiles. And I just wept. And after that, I just listened to the Lord, followed the leadership of the Holy Ghost, and it just began to grow.
Wow. Now, you know, you say that the Lord spoke to you, and we have many viewers will say, well, what does she mean when she says that? Did she hear an audible voice? Was it something in your heart? How did he speak to you?
Well, mine was actually audible.
Wow.
I mean, you would have looked for someone else to be in the room, and we were basically carrying on a conversation. He said, that's your ministry. I said, my ministry? He said, yes, the roots. And I said, okay. And he said, the root of Jesse. And I knew that it was in the scripture, so I found it in there, and he said, this is what I have been training and developing in you.
Wow.
Yeah, and what I got from that was in Isaiah 11, that's where people can find it, it tells how Jesus would not judge according to what he sees, or according to what he hears, but that he was discerned correctly. And so I look at Root of Jesse ministry and I see what we do, and a large part of Root of Jesse is in prison. And the mindset is, when you go into prison, is to judge.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So he already gave me that mandate. You don't go in to judge.
Wow.
You go in to teach and to show love.
Wow.
And so this was something that was truly started by him, and I look now and I say, truly, the Lord has been in this place. you know.
Well, how long, two things, how long has the Root of Jesse been in existence, and exactly what is the ministry about?
Okay, Root of Jesse, before that conversation with the Lord in the 90s, it was first named God is in his temple, still not trying to get any glory for myself, wanting everyone to look to him. Has been in existence for more than 30 years, just not as the name Root of Jesse. Root of Jesse has been around, and this is actually going to be our 25th year.
In the Root of Jesse?
In the Root of Jesse, 25 years.
You don't look much older than 25.
Well, I thank God he called babies. He called babies, so it'll be 25 years, and we actually will be celebrating on June the 12th, our 25th anniversary. But you had a second part to that question.
And that was, what does Root of Jesse, what is it all about?
Oh, wow, what is it not about? Root of Jesse, I feel, it's the heart of God. It's the heart of God that the outcasts, those that are often overlooked, the underserved, is God's heart towards them. Our focus is on, I can say, individuals that have made major mistakes and gotten caught because they're incarcerated. And so for more than 30 years, I've been going across the United States to different penal facilities. I do one-on-one counseling in the facilities. I do parenting training in the facilities. We do conference, both men and women. So it's not where I'm just going in females. I am actually going in men facilities also.
Wow.
We just have special programs. I sit down with the volunteer coordinator there with the chaplain and say, hey, what do you need? We're here to serve. You tell me what you need, and then I'll tell you if Root of Jesse is equipped to meet the need. And I've never had a situation when we have not been able to meet the need.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Deacon Stanton, he's been so nice and quiet
That's
over
okay.
there.
Yeah, that's good. He's always good.
I think it's wonderful, you know, the way in which you support your wife and all the things that she's doing, and that you're part of the integral part of the ministry. But I also know that you have the things that you do that God has called you to do. So can you talk a little bit about the things that you do?
Okay, well, first of all, one of the things I do is I support my wife because God brought me a Christian woman. When I was in Minnesota, because now I transferred from Minnesota to Maryland now, but when I was in Minnesota, I asked God to send me a Christian woman. This is about 7 years ago. And lo and behold, God does give you what you ask for, and sometimes a little more, because I've got an apostle, and for 6 years we've dated across country, and so now I'm living in Maryland, and we have a shared vision. I was doing basically this transitional housing and working with the reentry population. Like you said, I'm a member of the Minnesota Second Chance Coalition, which I'm still on the board, even though I'm here in Maryland, because now we're working at the Maryland, reentry project. They have the Maryland Reentry Project that is working with Minnesota Coalition. So we're jointly working, because this is the issue across the country, not just in Minnesota and Maryland. It's across the country. Reentry is a problem. The Second Chance Coalition, as the federal government, we're looking to go more into that. And I'm more on the political side. I like the political side to try to help help change statutes. So changing people's minds is one thing, but changing the laws helps us. Is another to get so we can have concrete evidence to do the things. So I'm just grateful for that. And like I said, we have this it's a shared vision, and so we're just grateful that he brought us together. He knew where we were going to be right now, for the last bunch of years. Up until now, this is where he wanted us to be, right here, right now.
Right now, at this time. Well, you just touched my heart by sharing how you just went one-on-one to God and asked him to send you a Christian woman. Yeah. And he did that. He honored your request.
Yes.
And I would ask you, were you asking God for the same thing, or were you off in your working?
No, I was kind of, I was kind of in another world, you know, doing my own thing. And I was really happy. You know, I mentioned to a friend of mine, I said, I am happy. And she said, don't you mean you're content? And I said, no, I'm happy. I know Paul said he's learned to be content. But I believe that, you know, the scriptures are leadership to take us to higher heights and deeper depths. So if he could reach contentment, why can't I reach contentment and excel into happiness where I am? You know what I'm saying? And so I was happy being single, and I kind of gave my husband a hard way to go when he showed up. It's like, okay, that is not my focus, you know.
But he heard from God.
But I am really thankful, and I was just out of town. I was sharing with you before the show, and a friend of mine said, I am so glad that Deacon Stanton didn't let you run him off.
That's funny. Well, I wanted to ask, what are some of the experiences that you both bring to the root of Jesse? I think it's great that you didn't know each other and somehow you were connected. Even in not knowing each other, with having the same interests. We have probably a minute or so before the break. So, can you kind of sum up the uniqueness about the root of Jesse? And either of you can answer that.
Go ahead.
Well, for me, the uniqueness would start with, it's not man-made.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's not man-made. This is something that he initiated and he watches over and he provides for. Other than that, the people that we serve see the genuineness. That is a compassion from the heart. And so we just get tremendous open doors from it. What else is unique? Because when you say unique, I'm looking at the word different, and a lot of what Root of Jesse offers is offered in other places. It's just the way that it's offered, the accessibility to it, and and the passion. Because I hear ladies and men say, hey, other people come and they teach this and they say this, but they say it where they are convicting us. You say it as you're loving on us. And so we receive it from you where we rebel from the others. So I think that's where the uniqueness comes, is where the passion and the commitment is. Some of my past, and so I have been victimized. And so I'm looking at people that have been victims and has also created victims. And through forgiveness, I'm able to minister to them. And so I think that makes you a uniqueness in itself, to be a victim and look at someone that victimized you and is a part of creating other victims and letting it go and saying, how can I help you? And the mind of a servant is what makes us, I think, the most unique.
Very good. I like that. Well, it's time for a station break. We'll be right back, so don't touch that dial.
Hello, we are Apostle Rene G. Hood Stanton, and this is my awesome husband, Deacon Dexter Roosevelt Stanton.
And we are Root of Jesse International Ministry. And we would personally like to invite you to come out and celebrate 25 years of outreach, prison ministry, and building families throughout the United States and abroad.
So please come out and join us as we celebrate so many of you who have transitioned from prison into power. Blessings. And God has a blessing with your name on it. Come on and get it. This event will take place at the Brook Road Recreation Center at 1101 Brook Road, Capitol Heights, Maryland, 20743.
Welcome back. Prior to the break, our special guests, Apostle Rene Hood Stanton and Deacon Dexter Stanton, we were discussing about some of the things that they have been doing through the Root of Jesse ministry. I wanted to ask Deacon Stanton, Are you still involved in the Higher Ground ministry? Is that ministry here in this area, or is that a Minnesota ministry?
That's a Minnesota ministry.
Okay.
I'm with Root of Jesse Ministry International here.
Okay.
Okay, but I still, we have a summer, right now there is a summer program that we're running through Higher Ground Ministry.
So you're still affiliated
Still
with them.
affiliated.
You're still affiliated
But
with them.
this is where my home is now.
Okay, good. Well, the one question that I have is that so often, and I'm particularly talking about couples that are in ministry, sometimes they just knock heads and they have trouble trying to work together. And you guys don't seem to have that problem. What is your secret? How are you able to do what you do? I know you're an author, you've written a book, and I think you have another one on the way, you know, and then you've got things that you do politically as well as within the ministry, and then you've got the Root of Jesse.
Right.
How do you keep it all together and still look so positive and have such a great relationship?
For me, the answer would be because it all intertwines. It really does. It all connects. And just like my husband shared earlier, before we knew each other, we had the same goals. And when we came together, he began to release and let go of the ties that were in Minnesota, because he knew that he now had this opportunity that he had been praying for. And so he just, without finding a better word, submitted to where he was present, where he is now. And like he was saying, he is still working with the summer program. He also started, which he didn't mention, Martin Luther King breakfast there in Minnesota.
Wow.
And they have a Dexter Stanton writing
and art contest. We have
that's in his name, and the young lady that is overseeing it now, she said it was improper to take his name off because, you know, he founded it. So he will always have a legacy in Minnesota for those 20 years of labor. So now he's building his legacy here.
Okay.
Yeah, and throughout the world.
Well, my next question is, you're deeply, I sense, deeply involved in prison ministry. So what is it that you specifically do when you go into a prison system, and then when those prisoners come out, do you still work with them, or like a lot of organizations, you know, they don't work with them anymore?
Right.
They're just kind of out here on their own. So how do you work with that?
Okay, because Root of Jesse Ministry is international, and we go to prisons that are not home-based. Okay. So there will be a difference in what I do there versus what I do here. Like I was sharing with you before we started, that I have a women conference starting tomorrow. Well, it's down in Patuxent, which is in Jessup, Maryland, which is a home-based prison. Okay. So there, I am there every Tuesday. I'm either there counseling. We even have a Tuesday that we do movie night. Wow. You know, because I want them to know that I'm not just a face coming in there to give them spiritual encouragement, that I'm a human being, and that I'm someone that you can lean on, that you can talk to, you can feel free with. So we have a monthly movie that I would choose, and then we discuss. We have a Tuesday that we call POP, Power of Prayer, where they bring their issues that they're dealing with, and we come collectively together and we pray together, all of us, holding hands and lifting up one another. The conference starting tomorrow is on hope. It's on hope. And whenever I normally do a conference home-based, we also do a time where we do arts and crafts, because I'm always trying to bring something that they can't do normally while they're incarcerated. Okay. During Christmas, the topic was gifts. So we talked about gifts, and then they got a chance to make purses. Oh. So I brought all the material they needed to make the purses. So this time we're gonna make jewelry. They're gonna be making earrings and bracelets and necklaces. And so it also it draws the norm that would come to a Christian event, but it also draws those that just want to get to gifts and do the arts and crafts, which is fine because we get an opportunity to sow in them.
Okay.
And then the ministry grows because they get something that they say, you know, wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to come back because this woman and the guests she brings, they do bring us some wisdom that we can dialogue with and we can apply to our lives so we can go back out there and make some changes that we didn't think we could make. See, because the whole focus is to get them comfortable, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I want them to be comfortable. They'll let down their guards. They'll let me in, and then I can minister. You know, and that's why Paul said, I'll become all things that I might win all men.
Yes.
You know, so I just kind of reach out to each facility and see what the need is and see who I need to become without denying who I am, but see who I need to become. You know, maybe they don't need a minister. Right. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they need a victim. So maybe I need to share with them that I was a victim. You know what I'm saying? I can identify the hurt. So I become what they need me to become in order to get that open door so I can sow good seed in their hearts because they have opened it to me. And that's the opportunity because people you can talk all day, but until they open the portal of their heart, you can't sow into them. You know, so depending on where we are is what we do. From the one-on-one counseling to so many other things. So I hope I kind of rounded.
Well, then we also do. We're looking to do our transitional house. We have a meeting later on today to open up the transitional.
Tell me about the transitional housing because that's important. I mean, prisoners get out; they have nowhere to go because sometimes their families, you know, are just not there, and it's hard to find a job.
Yes.
It's hard to find a job.
Yes. It's hard to find a job and it's hard to find housing because of the criminal background. And one of the things that we did in Minnesota, but we're doing here is doing a transitional housing for them so that they have a place to come. And we're working on the job workers workshop that's coming up that I guess we'll be talking about in a little bit. So they have a place to stay, they have a place to call home, and it's going to give them a sense that they can go forward, you know, that they're not alone. And then what they do is 6 to 8 months, and they see whether they can move out, because it's just a stepping stone.
So are you working internally with the prison system so that, you know, they are working with you to provide you with people, or do you wait until they're totally out and try to bring them in?
Well, because of the contact that we have, the ladies and the men, they have our information.
Oh, that's good.
They are constantly updated with where we are and the different things that we're doing. Just like what my husband was saying is, you ask, okay, do we just do it while they're in there? But no, the transitional housing, and then also we have which you already know, we're collaborating with the chill station.
Oh, I know, You got to tell the viewers about the chill station.
Yeah, with the chill station, and what we're doing there is we're actually establishing a sewing manufacturer, and not only, well, let me back up for a minute. With the chill station, but also Unlimited Fashion, which does sewing for Under Armour, Liz Claiborne, and a lot of fashion people that we buy quality work from.
Yes.
We're also partnering with them. And so our vision is to have a sewing apparel shop, but we want it to be a cooperative. So that not only are the individuals getting a job, but they're becoming owners
and entrepreneurs.
Wow.
And entrepreneurs.
So that if you can't join the system, you beat the system by becoming an entrepreneur, because you can't get jobs when you. I mean, I know that years ago we had a janitorial firm, and we were in the district government, and they actually helped us to get employees. But other than that, a lot of the people that had been incarcerated could not find jobs.
And the uniqueness about this is that if they don't care for sewing, Phil Spector, who is the owner of Unlimited Fashions, is going to train them how to become machine.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Engineers. Repair.
Machinists, so they can
repair the machine.
So who's teaching them how to sew, or do they already have the sewing skills?
Well, MCE, which is Maryland Correctional Enterprise, they give them basic skills, because MCE employs the inmates. I mean, they don't make that much, but they make all of the police, EMSs, all of their uniforms. They do all their work. So they come out with skills that they can't utilize. So what we're doing is taking skills they already have, enhancing them, taking them to another level. So even if somebody wanted to open their own shop and maybe make yoga outfits, they'll be able to do it.
So you're saying that there is already in place a system where the inmates are making the badges that
the uniform.
They're making the uniforms.
The uniform.
The entire uniform. So okay, so when they do that, are they able to get paid for that now, or is that money saved for them?
They get paid on a monthly base, but it's not minimum wages.
Okay.
It's very low.
Okay.
I mean, some inmates make 65 cents an hour, where you got other ones where they think they got a good job and they make $1.25.
Wow.
Yeah.
But does that money go into an account for them so that when they leave?
Well, no, they use it monthly because they have to buy supplies and have needs monthly that they need.
And things like
and
that.
so when they leave here in Maryland, they get $50 and whatever they have on their books.
Okay.
That's it.
That's what they get.
Yeah.
Deacon, you were saying something.
But you pretty much answered that one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Where do you guys see yourself in 5 years from now?
Okay.
Besides together, loving one another.
Well, that thought never entered my mind that there would be any other way than together.
Oh, well, okay, one of the things we're working on Prince George County. We're looking to enhance the the Glendale Hospital site in Glendale. We want to do an incubator. Because it's more than just sewing. We want to have incubators to produce entrepreneurs. We said Root of Jesse Academy to where we can bring about arts, crafts, entrepreneurship.
Right.
And giving people a chance, lifting them up, giving them a hand out.
Oh, wow. I like
and so,
that.
Yeah, so
that's great. Thank you. That's wonderful.
And just to add to that, and it's not just going to be about reentry people. We see in this vision where we see youth, because I raised 28 foster kids, so we want to get the youth in there that are neglected. And then you got 50 and older single women that are struggling. So we even want housing units there for them.
Well, listen, we definitely are going to have you guys come back. I'm going to try to twist your arm to see if I can't get you on the show a little bit more than that. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We really enjoyed the sharing. We're out of time, and I want to thank you for watching today, a segment of In the Cool of the Day. We will see you next week, same time, same place. Have a safe and wonderful week. Bye-bye.